Okay, so this particular match was to get into top 8 at NorCal Dogfight. NorCal Dogfight is one of our monthly locals. It is a great place for me to test my shit out. What up, Treewee? Let me know if you want to get some games in, Treewee. It's a good place to test my shit out. We got a strong ass local scene with a bunch of players, and so if I get opened up or if I see stuff there, it's probably a good cue to work on the shit so I don't get exposed by that in bigger tournaments, which is basically what locals are for, as well as just hanging out. So here I'm playing against CT Warrior. To date, we have played twice in tournament before this, so he beat me with his Kai at NorCal Red Bull, the Red Bull, whatever the fuck it's called, the Red Bull tournament in Oakland. With his Kai, and then I beat him at, like, I want to say a Cali Burst or something after that. So I was pretty comfortable, or I had some idea of what to expect from his Kai already. And what I remember about his Kai is that, I'll turn the commentary down a little bit. What I remember about his Kai is mostly that it's pretty, he's pretty conservative with his neutral stuff. He doesn't go in for too much. And if I teleport too much, he will start to punish it. Alien Lambda asks, hello, I found your stream from your YouTube videos. I love your podcast. They've been really helpful. Do you do one-on-one help with games other than Guilty Gear? Not at the moment. Guilty Gear is the game that I'm trying to focus on right now. To be honest, I don't really play that many other games actively. I hate Street Fighter V, which is maybe the other game that I would work on. I play a little bit of Dragon Ball, but I'm not current on that stuff. But yeah, if you have a game in mind, I might be able to point out someone to help. Yeah, I'm not. If the input lag actually helps with Street Fighter V and Ryu get some buffs, then maybe I'd consider it. But yeah, Street Fighter V is not my shit. I became noticeably happier as a person once I started playing more Guilty Gear. So I focus on that mostly. So yeah. Going into this match, CT Warrior, we had been 1-1. I felt pretty... I didn't think that there was anything new to expect from his Kai, but I also knew, because the last time we played, it was super close. Came down to, like, the last hit. I knew that I had to play, like pretty seriously. I had to pay attention.
Can't backdash that.
Yeah, I never learned how to play Blaze Blue.
Air dash away slash to cover anything that comes in.
So here I'm running in a decent amount, but I'm not really getting caught with more than stray hits. It wasn't until that hit that there was something like pretty substantial. And I feel pretty good about using my burst there. Oh, that was a mistake. But I'm keeping him in the corner. Wire C duel.
Chipp is definitely ahead in meter right now, though. Not ahead in health.
I'm paying attention to how often he's punishing my jump hard slash or my air teleport hard slash. Also, leaf grab into anti-air 6P, if they just jump to avoid the leaf grab, is something that I try and pay attention to see if it catches them.
Even it up, and now he's invisible.
You can't see me.
You can't see me. John Cena is in the building.
Oh my god, it's super. He's gonna do super. Is this gonna kill? Oh my god,
Oh my
goodness.
37 consecutive hits. 38.
So I had to mash the shit out of that. But if you remember, that's actually a combo that I've been working on a lot because I've been dropping it before. I dropped it in the last tournament I entered like hella times. And so I was pretty happy that I was able to hit it right when it mattered, all the way down to like the last punch. That was pretty cool. Go me. It's nice to see that like specific practice and like identifying things that you work on can actually sometimes make your game better. Also, what up, C-Slug? Thanks for coming through.
I don't want it.
Wow. That just raw jump in. Forces into burst.
Yeah.
He's got Trixies.
Oh, it's so hard to block.
Wow.
Yeah, so here at this point, he's starting to catch on to the jump hard slash, but he's not dealing with it in a way that worries me yet. Plus, also, I've used the leaf throw on him and got him successfully. So I know it'll hit if I like time it right. If I make him pay attention to enough things.
He's got to make something happen. Good lightning.
Oh.
Oh, we got the unblockable.
He was crouching. That's so weird.
Yeah. Wow, okay. Good spacing. Kai is bleeding, though. He is bleeding. He's got no meter either.
That's a good ass question, Sora. I'll get to in a second. So here, I'm going to just take a minute to point out that I've been playing reasonably clean neutral until now. I've been running and pressing buttons, but I haven't been teleporting randomly, which is nice. Like these are things I'm actively working on, and so when I see myself not doing it and not running into big-ass Kai buttons, I actually really don't like playing against Kai because I feel like I get outclassed on the ground a lot, and because of that, I end up going to the air and then getting anti-aired and getting fucked. So I'm pretty happy with the way I'm playing this so far.
106 right underneath the /air throw. You got nothing. Beep.
Yeah. So at this point, I'm keeping track. I've used a bunch of leaf grabs. I've used a bunch of jump hard slash, but he hasn't made me pay for it yet. So I feel pretty confident that I can keep on using it, but I know he'll adapt eventually.
Wow.
/hit him again. He's getting kicked by that.
Good OTG.
He does have a good ass shirt on.
Throw. Setup. Wow.
As a side note, I fucking love anime fighting game tournaments because everyone brings the fucking memeiest shirts ever, and I can't get enough of it. Fucking Brett, the dude who organizes NorCal Dogfights, and he does like that Animibo stuff a lot, was rocking the like Keep Calm and Grim Reaper shirt. God damn, I can't get enough.
Wow. First mid teleport.
Nice, good reaction.
Good catch in the air.
So there, now I notice, okay, he's looking for the leaf grab, but he's not punishing it. He's just jumping away, and that's actually not that bad for me.
Wow.
It doesn't even matter if he was the air throw, it's too good.
It was a little invisible. It's hard to see. Better grab your contacts. Clean your glasses.
Now he's IBing a lot more.
Very patient with the block.
Oh.
Oh my goodness! Ah, that's so much damage.
Oh, but he still manages to get something out of this.
Yup.
Yeah, he's still not respecting the jump hard slash. I'd also not used the low kick, the rest show follow-up, so I was pretty confident that was going to hit.
Oh my god.
There's a nail biter who's gonna win.
Oh, I missed my air throw there. And then I know I just waste shurikens a lot.
Yes, Ned.
Everything.
Alright, that was kind of... that could have got me killed.
Had the flip saying I need one more.
Oh, that was a drop.
Burst, not biting. Alright, lockdown. This is where
But yeah, sure, let them call that a burst bait, whatever.
Chipp doesn't know how to deal with this. He doesn't know how to deal with this. See, what is this? This is CT's pressure. You best believe he's gonna hit you with that.
Wow. I blinked and Chipp's life is gone. Nice
Sir,
tick throws.
You didn't get checked out, man.
Wow, okay.
Also, he beat. I got a bug right here.
So the DP was probably not worth going for, because that's going to make him think about it again. I could have saved that for the last round. But Chipp is good at making comebacks. Like, as long as he's got health, he is a viable character and can steal the round back. It's one of the reasons I love him. He's not punishing me for jump dust at all. And that's one of those things which I have to pay attention to.
Oh, ladies and
Up
gentlemen.
here. Oh my god.
No.
Drop my combo there.
Oh shoot.
Yeah, Chipp fucking dies.
Sword is
Ooh.
so long. Oh my god.
We got a momentum burst, and then I fuck up the anti-air.
Oh, that doesn't work on him. He's flight.
Oh my god, he's so low. Okay. Wow.
Oh, goodness.
Dashes into that.
He's like, I got one of those too.
Ooh.
Next to it.
So what I was trying to do there, and I tried to do it last time. It's a good note to take for the future. Like, so he's dealing with the leaf grab by jumping away, but which is good. It won't get him grabbed, right? What I've been trying to do is 6P it, and sometimes that works. But the last 2 times I tried to air throw, and I got slapped in the face both times. So I should definitely stick to 6Ping, and not going for the air throw.
Air throw again. 2H.
Oh.
Receiver.
Make you
I
guess.
want to see it.
Oh my god, I thought you didn't go out for the air throw.
Overhead.
Hey.
Not like this. Not like this.
I wasted my shuriken again. I need to find better.
Oh, the rise, DP.
And with a quick pop off from Pat the flip. That doesn't work on me.
Deep.
So I just gotta see that one again.
What the?
Wow. The rise, deep.
What the?
Wow. The
If there's anything that anyone who has played CT Warrior knows. It's the man loves DPing at the moment of peak emotional intensity. If you play as Soul, that moment is every 15 seconds at least, or after he just did a DP. But he spent like the whole match not doing DP at all, so he could do DP it then. And man, I felt so good for not getting hit by that.
Nice DP.
A quick pop off from Pat the Flip.
But yeah, so that was probably the best I'm going to look in this evening this tournament evening. So before I move on with the replay review stuff, yeah, no one's in the room. That's cool. Before I move on with the replay stuff, let's go back to Sora's question, which Alien Lambda also +1'd. Okay, so this is going to be a long-ass question. Actually, hold on one sec. Oh, that's cool. All right. Okay, so this is going to be a long-ass question. I know that watching VODs and my own replays is essential to getting better, but holy shit, I can't do it. I tried, but I can't figure out anything good out of it. I also struggle to adapt fast enough in first to two formats, and sometimes on long sets against strong players. What? How? I'm fucking lost with the active watching type. That's a good-ass question. There are kind of two things going on in there. But at the base level, the way that I would describe the Guilty Gear learning loop, and really the fighting game learning loop, is when you're learning a character, what you're doing is you're learning their tools. Their tools are essentially answers to different kinds of questions that your opponent is going to ask you over the course of a match. And as your character comfort and your matchup knowledge and your game knowledge build up, you're going to have more answers to more questions. So some of the questions you can see me asking CT Warrior is, how are you going to deal with teleport into air hard slash, right? How are you going to deal with instant air dash jump dust, right? He didn't have answers for those that were good enough, and so I got to use that a lot more than I would have normally against other players. So if your character knowledge, if the sum total of your knowledge is essentially answers to questions, right? You can think of it like a knowledge base or a wiki or something like that. When you are playing a match, there's going to be questions that you either don't know the answer to, or you don't have a very good answer, right? If I am constantly harassing you with Gamma Blade, right? That's his projectile, and you're just getting caught by it constantly, you're going to need to figure out an answer to Gamma Blade, right? Now, some of that, like one answer could just be figure out something that fucking beats it, right? Instant air dash big button will probably beat Gamma Blade, and you'll probably get a counter hit, so that's great. So now you need to ask yourself another question, which is, okay, so what do I need to do in order to instant air dash over the Gamma Blade? And the timing of Gamma Blade is such that it's most likely going to be a read. You're not going to be reacting to Gamma Blade startup unless you're looking for it. And if you're looking for it and you can recognize it, then if you're looking for it all the time, then you're going to get your ass kicked because I'm going to be hitting you with a whole bunch of stuff that isn't Gamma Blade while you're looking for it, right? So then the next question is, hey, when should I be looking for Gamma Blade, right? You haven't answered the first one, which is what do I do to beat it? You have an answer, and then you have to start answering the second one, which is, hey, when are they going to do it, right? So it turns out there's a couple situations where Chipp likes to do Gamma Blade. One is meaty, because it gives him a frame advantage. It's like +5 on block or something like that, right? And it's a very safe meaty option. So that one you probably can't instant air dash over because you're just going to get caught. Okay, so what are the other situations? Well, I like to do it mid-screen. I like to do it mid-screen usually after certain air tech scenarios where I don't have an easy in and I think you're going to approach from the ground, right? So now it's when we're at a certain range, you can start looking for Gamma Blade, right? So I Gamma Blade and you instant air dash and you try and get me with your big buttons, but then I wire C it, right? That makes it safe. Now I can 6P whatever you're coming in with, and I get my counter hit combo, and I'm happy because I only had to spend 25% meter to get a combo and the advantage in neutral. So then you have another question to ask, which is, hey, when should I not be IADing over Gamma Blade? And the answer is, if I have 25% metering, I can wire C it, right? So these are all questions that have answers, and then beget more questions, right? So if that's how we think of knowledge in Guilty Gear, and I apologize, it's a long answer, but you asked long-ass questions, so you kind of deserve it. If that's how we think of knowledge in Guilty Gear, then what you got to do through playing and through watching your replays is figure out what questions you don't have answer to, right? So when I play, I usually have a note stock on my second monitor, and I'll just pay attention to shit that's hitting me all the time. I'll be like, man, I don't know how to block Leo, or I don't know how to block Elphelt, right? Leo pressure, Elphelt's corner loops. What else have I looked up recently? There's some Chipp stuff around just button interactions, right? Hey, what buttons beat this? Let's see, what else have I been working? Slayer. I did a whole replay review on Slayer. You can check that out if you want. But I need to figure out if I'm losing a lot and I don't know why, then the first thing I need to do is figure out questions to ask, right? In Slayer's case, it's like, what the hell do I do when he's knocked me down and he's got dash left-right mix-ups and he's got throw setups and all this other nasty shit, right? Answering that question is going to take time. There's some answers which are like, oh, here's this sick-ass option select that gets you out of everything. I don't know that yet. I don't even know what the everything is, right? So I have to come up with smaller answers. Blitz. I really like Blitz against Slayer because he likes to come in and press buttons, and that will protect me in the left-right scenario. So it's not the ideal answer. It is also not the only answer, but it's an answer that lets me get a little bit further, right? Now, I can come up with answers on my own, but I can also look to to much better players than myself to see what questions they're asking and what questions they're answering, right? So maybe I don't even know what questions, I don't have a good idea of what I'm supposed to be doing against Slayer, right? Instead of watching where I fuck up, because I fuck up all over the place, right? Maybe I should watch a really good Chipp versus a really good Slayer and see what that matchup looks like, right? And I can get an idea of for instance, when I watch, who is it? When I watch Samito, when I watch him play against Slayer, he tends to run away a little bit more than other Chipps like Bears, right? When Bears plays against Demendo, he runs in and presses buttons all the fucking time, right? Other Chipps don't. E.T., Samito, I think Endo is a little bit more on the aggro side, right? So there's a bunch of stylistic differences in how people play Chipp, right? And I can start to look at those and break them down a little bit and be like, hey, what are they doing? What can I try out, right? Not thinking this is the answer for me, but this is an answer. It's something I can do. So I try it out. I find a Slayer. I say, hey, I want to play some long, let's give me a long set, right? Hey, Demendo, come whoop my ass for 30 games before a tournament. And I start to try that shit out. I try to see if I like, how it's working out. And if it does, great. I add it to my matchup note stock, and now I have a little extra. I have one more answer to a question that someone can ask me in the middle of a tournament, and I can respond with 6P or Blitz or whatever, right? So you got to be asking questions, right? And then you got to be figuring out answers. Your question does not have to be perfect. Your answer also does not have to be perfect. It just needs to be good enough. And that's really the fun part to me in fighting games, is building up these questions and answers so that you have this ever-growing stack of information that essentially represents how good you are at this game. So I hope that helped. That's my approach. You can think of it as testing hypotheses, basically. And then the second part of your question, I also struggle to adapt fast in first to two formats and sometimes in long sets against strong players. How? I'm fucking lost to the active watching type. So when it comes to adapting in first to two, yeah, that's tricky. And part of that is just playing a lot of first to two to see, to get an idea of kind of, if you think of fighting games as questions and answers and questions, what you've got is a conversation. A first to do in Guilty Gear is not a very long conversation. But as you can see in this match with CT Warrior, it's long enough for us to start asking the same question sometimes, right? Hey, what are you going to do about leaf throw? Hey, what are you going to do about Kai's corner pressure? Hey, what are you going to do about, after the leaf throw, follow up 6P or whatever, right? So you kind of have to pay attention. You have to start keeping track, right? When it comes to the things that you're doing with your character, what are they adapting to? What have they shown you that they're capable of dealing with? What do you have to respect, right? And then what haven't you shown them? What have you not done yet, right? Which mix-ups have you used before? Which ones do you still have left? How often are you letting them, how often are you knocking them down versus OTGing them to keep momentum? Have you baited a blitz yet, right? That's one of the biggest questions to ask yourself in Guilty Gear, at least one of the ones for Chipp, right? Because people love to blitz his air hard slash, right? So if I baited it, then they know that they have to respect the empty jump low, and that game gets a lot more interesting, right? If they just use blitz, that's enough for me to pay attention to. Because some people don't use it at all, right? Some people don't know that it's a good thing to do against Chipp, right? That's what adaptation looks like. Now, sometimes you won't be able to adapt on the fly because you don't actually know the answer yet, right? And so then you're in the position of having to figure out the matchup on the fly, which fucking sucks, right? So the first thing you do is you prepare more, right? You keep track of the matchups that you feel confident in, the matchups you feel less confident in, and you actively prepare for specific matchups, right? And tournaments are great for that because tournaments tell you which matchups, like someone beats you at some point and that tells you, oh, you don't know this matchup as well as you think you do, right? So yeah, some of it is figuring out like, hey, what is the person, like what options are they beating? What options have you not yet used and you don't know, right? I saved the overhead kick off the fire punches for like the very end because I knew I wasn't going to get more than one shot doing it, right? Likewise, you got to keep keeping track of them, right? Are they burning shit against you? Are they showing you new mix-ups? Have they used this one before? And so on and so on. But really, I think the core of the answer to your question is... I bring this up a lot, but Machabo had a really good essay. I'll see if I can find it. But he basically, one of the things he talks about is that until you know how the game works, you do not really get to understand the way people play it. Let's see if I can find it. So, okay, so here's Machabo's Fundamentals of Guilty Gear. What up, Shablumps? But basically, the way that you want to think about this is if you... Yeah, here we go. Mind games emerge only when both opponents have a firm grasp on the options. If you only do a specific high-low mix-up against somebody that can fuzzy block it, you could easily think that opponent is simply godlike and can block everything on reaction. In reality, the opponent is not a god and there was no mind game because those two options that you alternated between simply doesn't become a mix-up unless you show them that you can do a third option that kills fuzzy block, right? So that's basically it, right? If someone's beating you because they've got the tech that you don't have, right? You're trying to play a mind game when there's no mind game. If you don't know what the options that your opponent has, then you're not playing against the opponent yet because they can just play the matchup textbook and probably be fine, right? So a lot of it just comes with playing more and learning which questions to ask, right? When you get to the point where you're like, oh, there's a specific thing that this specific Slayer at my local tournament does that I don't see at all, right? Then you're playing the game against that person. But until then, you need to be leveling up your overall matchup knowledge and your overall game knowledge so that you have the basic answers to all the questions. So yeah, that's a super good essay that you should check out, I think, in general. I Am Assertive asks, how do you translate matchup knowledge into constructing a game plan and adapting over a game? Yeah, that's basic. I think I basically just answered that to the best of my ability. It's about, like, matchup knowledge tells you which moves are better or worse to use in certain circumstances, right? What player knowledge tells you is, hey, this person doesn't know about this, or this person is using these tools suboptimally, or this person hasn't seen these mix-ups yet, or doesn't deal with them well, right? And yeah, that's essentially where it starts to turn into, oh, I'm playing the game against this specific person, right? So when it comes to constructing a game plan, it's stuff like the stuff I'm working on against Slayer right now is, hey, maybe I should try to not run in and press buttons so much. Because when I do that, sometimes it works, but a lot of times it doesn't. And when it doesn't, I get hurt a lot more than Slayer does. So instead of running in, what I'm trying to do now is stay basically like one unit of movement, like one step away from him, so that Slayer has to do something to close the gap and then attack, right? Because then I can get him to stop a little short. If I run away just a little bit further, then he'll whiff a button and I can whiff punish. And now I've won neutral, right? And now I can get my hits in and I can do my mix-ups, right? So part of my game plan is been be more evasive. Find other things to do that don't involve going in, right? A different part of my game plan is if I'm at mid-screen, don't go for as much knockdown Oki against Slayer. Bears is really good at it and can punish him a lot in mid-screen. I am not so good at it. My setups aren't as tight. So instead, I tend to optimize for damage and corner carry. What I want to do is get him in the corner, get my invisibility going so they can't find me, and then that's when I start to get most of my damage, right? And if I can get a mix-up mid-screen, it's fine. But Slayer has so many options between Blitz, 6P, backdash, cancel, bite, and all this other bullshit. It's not really worth. At least for where I am right now, it's not really worth it to go in on him hard if I have the mid-screen knockdown, right? That would be an example of a specific adaptation that I make for a specific matchup, right? In other matchups, like against Milia, I will stay on that ass all day, every day. I don't really respect her wake-up options at all. Like, all I have to do is bait out 1 or 2 blitzes, and then she's pretty screwed, right? And her wake-up tools are not fantastic. So if I get them knocked down mid-screen, I can usually get a little extra damage by going for more mix-ups, right? And then I punt her to the corner and I do my shit anyway. So cool. Those were good questions. Thank you so much for asking them. If you have more, get them in chat. Otherwise, I'm going to keep on watching this replay. So that was me versus CT Warrior. He will get his run back later on. What else we got? This Invite Pepsi versus D&T Camp. Oh yeah. Oh, this is a this is a good one. What do we got? All right. So this is me versus OrionXElite in winners top 8. OrionXElite is a Leo player. I have been working on my Leo. Thank you very much to Marin and I forget who was the other Leo in there, but I've been getting a whole bunch of Leo practice. So yeah, here's another pretty good example. Like going into this matchup, I don't think I've ever played OrionXElite before, but I know he's a very solid Leo. Usually places second or third at these tournaments. And Leo is one of my problem matchups. I think he's also one of Leo's easiest, or I think Chipp is one of Leo's easiest matchups. So I know that there's a couple things that I need to do less of in this matchup. One is use 2D a lot less. I use it a lot in general, and Leo's stand heavy slash will beat the fuck out of it. Seems like a lot of his buttons beat the fuck out of it that I don't expect to. So I can't use it at the range or with the frequency that I normally like. I have to find other things to do. The other thing I'm still trying to get a handle on is essentially Leo's relatively limited movement. So I know that in neutral, there's one thing that I should be looking for at all times, and that's his slow sonic boom, the dwa, right? If I let him get a projectile out, and he doesn't spend meter to make it safe, he's essentially got a huge advantage in neutral, because now I have to move around that big-ass projectile, and that makes my options much more limited and much more predictable. So I need to be vigilant about his dwa, right? But I need to do that by not running in, which means I'm probably going to be using teleport and instant air dash to punish it. So that's one thing I need to be looking for. But if he's not dwaing, I need to figure out something else. So I know that Leos tend to like instant air dash with that long ass poke, air poke. I don't know what it is, but it beats a lot of stuff. So I need to look for that in 6P it. The other thing I know is that the shuriken is actually surprisingly annoying in this matchup, because Leo has a hard time chasing Chipp down in the like upper corners of the map or of the screen. So I can get the space, if I'm smart, I can get the space to get the slow shuriken out, which then gives me the opportunity to use the fast shuriken to cover my approach. And when it comes to Leo, like, I need to be able to get in and do damage. I can't just run away the whole time or I'll have no meter. But going in without the shuriken or a YRC Gamma Blade makes it real hard to do it in a way where it's good for me. Because if I get hit, I'll usually get counter hit into a big ass combo, right? So those were the things I was working on going into this set. So already things are not going great for me. I was pretty happy with how that first defense went, though. I often just get torn up. And see there, even though the shuriken doesn't hit, I managed to use it to cover my approach. And then I get very predictably flash kicked. Yeah, so there, actually, we can see it. Me looking good. Me looking not so good. So that Gamma Blade was okay. I went for a sweep there at exactly the range I shouldn't be doing it, and I ate shit. Ooh. Jesus Christ, I hate this matchup. I hate it so much. Yeah, so this is another example. I was like, okay, so Orion is in the other side of the screen. He can't do anything to me other than get his fireball going, but he's not doing that. So I can use this time. I could just run in and start pressing buttons, but that's a bad idea because it could potentially cost me. That's probably what he's looking for. So instead, I just take the time to get a free find me and get the slow shuriken out, right? These are things like, if you asked me 3 weeks ago how I was going to deal with this matchup, I probably wouldn't have had an answer to this question. I probably wouldn't have thought about it, and so I probably would have just gone in and started pressing buttons and get my ass kicked. That was another. So that was the shuriken again helping me out. I also I got my 6P, so I felt pretty good about that. And then I baited. So that was one thing that I was working on, I think mostly with Tamarin, was just realizing that a lot of times they just want to do the fucking flash kick. They want to catch a teleport with the flash kick. And so I knew that I could start baiting it with just the punch teleport. And I did, and it worked. That's probably the best round I've ever played against Leo. And then I get caught pressing 2D again. That was a drop. I can't block for shit.
Okay. Don't worry about blocking. We don't block today.
Oh my goodness, this is so much hurt.
Yeah, so if Leo gets close to me, he's going to do that shit. And, like, that's a pretty good example, right? I know that my defense against Leo is something that I can improve on. There is actually shit that you can practice. I know it looks chaotic and ridiculous, but there's an actual method to the madness. And a lot of it comes from specific matchup experience, like understanding what this particular Leo player likes to go for. And then some of it is just general matchup experience, like, oh, this is the thing that you should faultless, this is the thing that you should IB, this is the thing that you can punch him afterwards, etc., etc. I just don't have a lot of that knowledge. There's a very good doc out there. I will Google it real quick. Yeah, here we go. This is a Leo countermeasures doc that was translated by a bunch of good folks in the Guilty Gear community. But yeah, this is like, I know that eventually I'm gonna have to dig a little deeper into the matchup and study like ways to get out of that like left, right, high, low pressure stuff that he's got. Right? I just don't understand his options from there very well. And so because of that, I end up choosing my answer to the questions that Leo asks me when I'm defending are pretty broad. They're like, block for a little bit and then try not to get crossed up, right? Block for a little bit and look for the overhead. If he's super close, maybe you can get away with mashing punch or something like that, right? Or a throw. Or blitzing or reversal DPing. But it's all very, very simple answers, right? If I want to improve at this, and you can tell that they're simple answers because they're getting blown the fuck up, right? I can get out of Leo pressure maybe like, if I'm lucky, 25 to 30% of the time. And that's the thing. And so I know, oh, I could improve my results against Leo significantly if I spend more time on the defense. But I'm not working on that right now. I think there's a bunch of other stuff that I could work on, right? In neutral specifically, there's easier stuff to work on that doesn't require a whole lot of specific practice against Leo, right? Stuff like getting used to throwing the shuriken more, or getting used to looking for his sonic boom in neutral so I can punish it, right? Eventually I'm going to have to step up my defense, but that's not what I'm focusing on right now, so I'm not going to do it, right? And I pay the price, but now this tournament is another data point saying, hey, eventually you're going to have to do this, motherfucker, and I just got to do it. Oh, thanks, Sora. So overall, I feel pretty good about how this is going. I'm not thrilled that I lost, but this is definitely better than most of my matches against Leo players in general. Oh, fuck that counter. Ugh.
Wow.
Yeah, I think so. I usually go for IAD air dust because I get a counter hit, and that gives me corner carry into the combo because it's a sliding reaction. But yeah, teleport's another good option. So one thing I'm noticing here that I didn't notice during the match is actually just that he's very used to people jumping out of the corner and air dashing over, right? He didn't air throw that. He just had a stand hard slash ready to go, and I got hit by it. So I'm going to need to find a way to deal with that. It could be like wall cling is one potential option. Again with the bait. I know this dude just really wants to flash kick and has not worked. And then I drop my combo. That sucks. But I get to stay in the corner. Or get to keep him in the corner. Oh, I hate that like guard point stance shit. But I get my counter hit 2H, so I'm happy. Get the burst. Oh, I get clipped. Yeah, so right there, like, at this point, Orion's won a clean 2-0 versus me. I picked up one round. But when you actually watch the matches, they're pretty close in most cases. Yeah, I made some mistakes, but I feel pretty happy with how I played that. And considering I never played him before, now the next time I play him, I'll have some additional data, right? I feel pretty confident in my ability to adapt. I don't know if I'll win next time, but I'll probably do better. And if I don't, it'll be because he sees something that and exposes it so I can work on that, right? Guilty Gear, fighting games. Ah, they're so good. Damn, we got all kinds of folks in chat. What up, y'all? Say hey when you get in. We got Dat Boy Uchiha in the house. We got Rico TDC in the house. It's a fucking Chipp party, baby. Alright, let's see. Where are we at next? Invite Pepsi versus CT War. Oh, that was good. Daemendo versus Orion. Yeah. Oh, let's see. Here we go. Alright. Oh, that's awesome. Actually, I'm probably not going to be here. I don't know when the next NorCal Dogfight is. I don't know if they're going to do it that because that's around Thanksgiving weekend, I think. But cool. I hope I see you there. That'd be rad. And if you challenge Daemendo to a duel to the death, he'll probably say sure, and then body your ass. Do. Yeah. Unfortunately, chip tech is definitely not my specialty. Alright, so I had played against this guy earlier. He was a solid Axel. He also has terrible taste in handles. He entered as Fat Cuck. And I believe when he added me on Steam, it was Knee Pits Enthusiast. Anime fighting games, y'all. But yeah, so he had a solid Axel, but I beat him pretty cleanly. And in our first match, I didn't really get a good feeling of how skilled he was, but he made it to top 8 losers, so he was clearly solid. I was pretty disrespectful in neutral in our first match. She didn't deal with teleport very well, so I kind of abused that. But I knew it was probably not a good idea to assume that he wouldn't adapt forever, and so I went into the set thinking, oh man, I definitely need to use teleport less. And so I'm being a little bit more patient in neutral. Also, that thing catches a lot of folks. Oh. Yeah, so here I'm being reasonably patient in neutral and then going in. There's some weird interactions here. Oh, that's right. Alpha Blade was also something I had not been using much, and he was starting to get super comfortable pushing buttons at range, so it's like, okay, maybe I can do this. And now that things are getting a little bit heated, he's not looking for the teleport, so I feel pretty safe in using it.
Yep. Run up, ground throw. I saw it the second I saw his hand click forward, he just know that he knew. He spent the entire game not establishing what Axel wants. Axel just wanted, he spent the entire game getting.
So I'm guessing he saw me get blown the fuck up by Leo and was like, all right, why the fuck not? He's beaten my Axel 3 games now. Let's give this a shot. And I think that was actually a smart call. If his goal is to progress in the tournament, if he's not interested in getting one more game's worth of Axel knowledge or Axel versus Chipp knowledge, then counterpicking is certainly it's not a bad idea.
This is so bad, guys. The classic online mode. Beta blade back.
But fortunately, I've just gotten the chance to play probably the best Leo in the room for 2 games, and I felt pretty good about it. So I was thinking I could probably do most of my shit. I could play the matchup the way I've been playing it and do okay, and it's working. That air throw gets everyone once. Woo! That was a fucking mistake. I have no idea how I got that dust. I'm guessing I was going for 2D, which, as you know, I shouldn't have been doing.
Wow. That was so stupid. So cheese.
Yeah, so now the shuriken's starting to pay off a little bit. I got my DP bait, and at this point, I don't really feel like I have to respect him in neutral at all. I know I can just go in and do my thing. So I took that one. Felt pretty good about that. Shout out to Fat Cook, though. I'm hoping to get him in here later for some games, because I need Axel practice. So this is Angry Black versus CT Warrior. This is another really good match. Okay, so here we get me versus CT Warrior, and it's the run back. Let's make sure we start from the beginning. Yeah, so this is the run back in, I think it's like, yeah, loser semis. I don't know if he knows how much I hate Elphelt, but I'm guessing since we follow each other on Twitter, he knows how much I hate Elphelt. This dude is also, like, he's played Elphelt for a long time. I haven't seen him play Elphelt in a while, but I know that he did a lot of early work on her back when the game was a bit newer. So I knew he had a solid Elphelt, but I'd never played against her before. And I'll be honest, I was thrown off a little bit by the counter pick. I was expecting him to pick Soul, because that's usually who I see him playing. I was not mentally prepared myself for an Elphelt, and I haven't watched this match, but I'm certain that I'm going to see a lot of stuff, which I'm just like, oh, I knew I shouldn't have done that. But we'll see.
I'm saying is.
So already I'm getting caught way too much by that stand hard slash. And that's something that I know how to deal with. Basically, if you're crouching at all, your shit will go under it and she'll whiff. Right? So I just need to come in with crouching buttons earlier and I'll be fine. But I didn't do that. I got hit and I used my burst, man. That fucking sucks. But I managed to put some work in. It's doing okay. His defense is solid. And since he's seen it before, he kind of knows what to expect. Or seen my Chipp's offense, rather. This is what murders me.
That's part of the character.
I do not have consistent answers for shotgun loops.
All Lossel did was just hop on the bandwagon. JDYRC.
But I feel okay with how I'm blocking here. And then I get caught jumping out, and this happens.
What the hell? Oh, he's alive.
Wow, that
What is
made
this? Overthrow. You see it? Air throw. He missed on it.
Oh, if I had come in with 6P, that would have worked fine. I think I got greedy and went for crouch hard slash.
Wow, my
Okay, what the hell?
those clocks.
Yeah, no, life or stats.
Yeah, shotgun loops are rough. What I've taken to is FDing if she comes in with the fast attack, like the punch or whatever, trying to IB and then 5K afterwards, or 5P, but it's tough. Like, I get blown the fuck up a lot.
Oh man, look at that punch. Oh my god, look at
I also just need to jump out more. That's actually way better.
the grenade.
But I'm too focused on pressing buttons. If I can just FD more and jump more, I'll be fine.
It is already over. One match up for CT.
The grenade forced.
But I wasn't fine there, and that happens.
And then it made on the ground and CT just threw up the gat. He got hit and then the grenade detonated. What a character. What a character.
She just throws a grenade.
Wow. Then go in.
Hold down the neutral, my
There
son.
it is. I thought he was gonna push block him into the grenade.
Yeah, so he's not using his or Elphelt's close slash, which is a fantastic anti-air. Like, he's not really anti-airing shit.
Oh,
His neutral is not, that was a mistake. His neutral is not particularly oppressive.
Unblockable is coming. No. Oh, he thinks he can kill. It's the air combo. That's negative.
His blocking is solid, and so I should probably be trying to open up with throws a little bit more because he's blocking a lot.
Oh my god.
Is Omi still in NorCal? No, I think he left for SoCal like a month or two ago.
Seen that move trade, and it's not in Chipp's favor.
I haven't seen him at Game Center. I know he was moving to SoCal, so. I had some good ass matches against Omi though. That dude fucked me up a lot, but it was. The blocking that overhead, as you may remember from yesterday, is also a problem of mine. But yeah, Omi's fucking sick.
Oh my god. It's okay. It's okay.
I got real close to beating him the first time first time I played him in tournament, but it's only because I was doing a whole bunch of YOLO shit.
There, girl. Oh, yes, he's ace. Where's he?
Went in.
Hold up. This isn't over yet. This isn't over yet. It's on his last
Oh.
leg. 6P the wrong fucking way.
I always do that. I always get way too hype and YRC teleport, and I YRC teleport into Bike into Tommy, into Elphelt grenade, into Kai's stun edge, like into Gunflame. It's the fucking worst.
It got, you see, on the third
I definitely need to stop doing that.
Section 45, Article 47 under the.
sentence 3.
So there, I think I finished at 4th, which wasn't bad. 4th out of like 24 people or something. I feel pretty happy with that. Could have done better, but you know, I got some useful experience, and that's why I go to these fucking tournaments, man. So that was some good ass replay review. We didn't get any office hours games in, but that's cool.